Good
Okay,
afternoon,
sound good.
everyone. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you taking some time out of a busy Thursday afternoon, and it's busy because we're in a good marketplace right now. We're still interest rates are still in our favor. We're still better than CDs. We're still more safe and secure with better returns than when you get from a lot of in the market. And of course, there's a lot of volatility there that has people wondering. And of course, most of the people we talk to are maybe a little bit more interested in safety and security today than maybe they were last year, 2 years ago, or 4 years ago. So really, really good time to be in our business. So it's a really good time to kind of sharpen the blade and make sure that we're doing everything as well as we can, not so that we can lure, trick, trap, but rather so we can help people come to a good decision on why they should look at the types of products that we work with. And so really good webinar today with the coach. Coach is Dave Pimper, president of Lazarus Coaching. As you all know, many of you know, Dave has been coaching with us for many years now, and those coaching subjects have been around radio, seminars, practice management, and sales processes. And really today, commitment lines and how to work your way with the client to helping them make the best decision is really what we're talking about today. Dave has got 41 years of experience, probably going on 42 by now, 548 now public seminars, I think 549 once you're done here this evening in front of clients.
Steve, now how do you know that? But you're exactly right.
Am I?
You're exactly right. You are. 500. I do a workshop tonight. It's one shy of 550. Wild.
Yeah,
I'm an old man. Yeah.
You don't look clearly that old in your dollar picture here, but dollar time.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's going to be a great webinar today, and it's going to be from someone that I think you will all see is doing just the same thing every day that you're doing. So it's nice to hear from a peer and someone that you can look to and say that person has the same struggles and does the same things that I do. So we're trying to get through this in 20 minutes. So that means I have to stop talking now and let Dave get to work on talking about the kind of how to get your client moving in the right direction with the right commitment language. So without any more wasted time, here's the coach, Mr. Dave Pimper.
Thank you very much, Steve. And this webinar is going to take 10 minutes. And then we probably will have a few questions, and we will be out of here in 20, 25 minutes easily by the time we answer all the questions. My name is Dave Pimper. I'm a producer, just like you are, in production. This is my 42nd year, so I've done it for a while. I always joke I'm starting to get the hang of it. But financial services started on July the 9th of 1981. And you know what? When you go through that kind of time period, you see a lot of different things, a lot of different sales processes. You develop your own sales process. But I am going to say this, the word process, I think, is the most important thing. You need to have a process. If you go in and take a look at the best golfers, John Rahm or whoever it might be, used to be always Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus or Arnold Palmer, what happens is they have a process. They have a process when they drive the ball, when they chip the ball, when they putt the ball. They do that same process over and over and over again. I do a lot of process coaching in the sales standpoint. I guess we can still say sales. That's sad. I say that for a reason because we are salespeople, and I'm a professional salesperson. I'm proud of it. I've been in sales, in financial service arena sales for 42 years, and I really, really enjoy helping people get better at the process of sales training. So we get everything done hopefully within 20 minutes. They're called 20/20 sales focus. We're going to focus you in just like when you go to the doctor and you get your eyes corrected so the focus is clear and acute. That's what we're doing here, and we're going to talk about commitment language. Now, everybody talks about the presentation, the close, handling objections, the presentation itself, the fact finder. But you don't hear too much about the commitment language, and it is used to close the sale. It's not used at the end of the sale, but it firms up and gets you on the right path to close the business. A lot of coaches, a lot of trainers do not talk about using commitment lines and commitment language to do just that. So let's go in and let's talk about, and I want to see if I've got, there we go. So why is commitment language so important? to the sales process. Here's why. Because if you get in front of a lot of people like I do, and I get in front of, I mean, my goal in life is to not have, unless I want a day to not be as busy, I want to be stuffed up absolutely one upon another with appointments. And the reason is because it makes my day go fast, but the better thing is you cannot produce without being in front of someone, either in front of someone one-on-one or in front of someone as on the phone or Zoom. But I'll tell you what, when you're working with hundreds of thousands of dollars, or not millions of dollars with somebody, people want to meet you one-on-one. I'll tell you that right now. And so when I'm going through all of those people, some of them absolutely don't have the money. Some of them don't have the need or the want. Some of them don't want to change from their current advisor. I take a lot of those, but in there, of course, is filtered in some yeses. And what happens is that I break it down, the commitment language. I ask 2 commitments within that first appointment. Now, here's what happens. Let's just say last Thursday, not today, but last Thursday, we did a movie. I did a retirement movie at the theater. It's an actual rated movie. Has a Rotten Tomato, which Steve was surprised about. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago, but it talks about, this movie talks about keeping money in a 401k and having a variable rate, or taking it out and having some kind of guaranteed income or guarantee the value of it, and the difference between the two. It's a pretty cool movie, and it came right at the midst of a snowstorm, but we had about 85 or 6 people sign up, and we thought we'd have around 50 people, 45 or 50. Actually, 31 came because we had a big snowstorm, and they closed the schools, the government shut down, and the plows were out, and that always, even in Nebraska, that keeps people home. But we got 7 appointments to it. What's interesting is on the first 2 appointments, the first guy was a doctor, had $18.3 million that he managed his own money, and he says stay in contact. But I'm going to tell you right now, he's pretty set on his ways. But just the chance to talk to someone that's got $18.3 million, that marketing is working. The next person I talked to was last night, and pretty wild, but she actually works for a registered investment advisor. She does it remotely from her home in Nebraska. The advisor is out of Kansas. And she didn't want to, even though her money is there, she didn't want to open up everything to her. And she's the operational and compliance officer, and they have about 1.2 million, but they aren't of age yet. They can take that money. They aren't 59 and a half or in service. So what happens is she does have concern about long-term care, which we do also. So that's my first 2 that I got. And tonight I've got a seminar. Well, we had a seminar on Tuesday night. We had 28 people. We had 18 buying or 19 buying units, 18 buying units, I think. We got 7 appointments. And tonight we're going to have a little less than that. I think we've got about 29 people that are registered. We'll probably have 18 to 20 people. I hope I get them 7 or 8 appointments tonight. But, so in the last week, I'm going to get about somewhere between 20 and 25 appointments. I'm going to be set up. So what you're doing is you're trying to find money. That's how we make money, is trying to find money. So once you find money, and I call it found money, that is when it comes on in for the commitment. So what is found money? Well, when I go through my fact finder, I'm finding out a lot of different things about them. So I got the lay of the land. So I want to know the type of income that they've got coming in right now. Okay, all different kinds of income, whether it's wage income, self-employment income, whether it is RMDs off a traditional at 73 or later. A lot of them are 70 and a half and 72 have been taking it from earlier. If it's I live in Nebraska, there's a lot of. I've talked to actually two. Interesting. I talked to two different people that have farm income. One of them, I asked, "What is your monthly income?" And he's just a normal old farmer. I talked to him this morning. In fact, they did two pieces of happened to be fixed annuity business. One for 54,000, one for 31,000. But you know what? I mean, their net worth. They got a 400-acre farm. It's worth 10 grand an acre, 4 million there, and they get cash rent. So I said, "What's your monthly income?" He said, "Well, he told me what the income was. It's pretty darn high. The farmers are making pretty good money right now." But what happens is when I'm looking for a prospect, I'm going through income. I'm going through what kind of pensions they have, what kind of investable assets they have that could pull an income from. So this is the key place that I find the 401ks, the 403bs, the SEP IRAs, the simple IRAs, the thrift savings plan, HR plans, SEP simples, Roths. I mean, all of that goes in that the investable money that you could pull an income from. RMDs on traditionals, the fifth thing is Social Security, if they're taking it or not. But I go through that, and because I fact find on that third bullet point, I'm finding like again, I'm not making this up. I just got off of an appointment. Now this actually wrote last week, but we had to go in and rewrite a little piece of the business. But he came in from radio, and he came in from radio. You know what he came in for? He came in to find out when he should take his 401, when he should take his Social Security, and it he ended up with the Jackson National Variable Annuity that he got really concerned during the fall down after his account dropped 16%. He said, "I never want to take risk again." Well, that variable annuities, he's earning 1% on it. He's paid 4% internal fee off his principal amount. 4%. And we worked a fixed index and a fixed on that account also, 417,000. But I found that money when I was fact finding. So that's you find money. Well, once you find that money, here's what happens to a lot of people. They go in and they automatically take it to a second appointment. You know what? And maybe if you're not busy, or you just want to be able to go home to your spouse, and that spouse asks you, "How was your day?" You say, "Oh, I was busy." But there's a big difference of being busy and being productive. A hamster is busy on that wheel, going nowhere, but he's busy. One foot after the other, not going anywhere. That's a good analogy because you don't want that to be your business. You know what? I want to be progressing. I would much rather hear no at the altar of my marriage. I'd much rather hear no at my first. You know what I'm going to say? I'd much rather hear no at my first date than at the altar. It gets harder and harder as you go through. If you go to the first appointment, second appointment, closing appointment, no, don't want to do it, or I'll think about it forever. No, I want to know right away. So let's just say, just for example, let's say a person's got $800,000 worth of investable assets. Part of it's in his 401k, part of it's in a brokerage account with another advisor, part of it's at the bank in a 7-month CD at 3.5%, but he's got 210,000 in a dormant 401k that he kept with the company from 25 years ago. And so I asked that person, "Who helps you manage that money?" He says, "No, I do it." And I'll say, "Do you watch it and rebalance it? What have you done through the 2022? Well, the majority of the people say, "I did nothing. It's just there. I just leave it there. It's done pretty good." Well, you know what? We've had a bull market from 2009 to 2021. In 13 years, we've had a very much of a big bull market, biggest one ever. So here's the low hurdle. I want them to be easy to answer yes on this. "Hey, would you be open for me to give you a couple ideas on that money?" Well, who doesn't want that? That's easy. Most people say, Well, yeah, I mean, I would. Some people say, no, I'm not going to do anything with it. And I say, so even if you, even if you saw something that was better, you just kind of married into that account. Is that right? Well, I don't know if I'm married, but I know I'm not going to change it. I, I tell you, I finish out my appointment, but I don't go any further. I don't hound them. But remember, I've got maybe 20 appointments behind it, and not counting the radio appointments that are coming in for me each week. So what happens is that's the low hurdle language. Are you open for me to give you a couple ideas on that 210,000 that you got with Fidelity in that dormant 401k? Are you open for me to give you a couple ideas on that? That's the low hurdle, and I do that. I do that early on in the presentation when I find that kind of find the money. But then later, towards the very end, the last 10 minutes of an hour presentation, I'll say, remember that, I go back to it. Remember that 210,000 that we talked about, and you said you're open. Let me just firm this up a little bit, and here comes the high hurdle. This is the strong commitment. You could call it mild commitment, strong like a handshake commitment. I say, remember when you said you're open, but let me just kind of firm that up a little bit. On that 210,000, and ma'am, or sir, whatever, job Bob, I'm saying this kind of hypothetically. I might even say, I don't want to get you in the corner. I might say that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I'll say, kind of hypothetically, let's say that I give you a couple options on some, and I say investments. You want to call your agent, you want to call your fixed index. That's up to you and your compliance officer, but it could be the financial strategy. But hypothetically, if I show those to you, and you can see they're better than what I have now. You feel in your heart of hearts they're better than what I have now. And you can see that you would benefit with having that. Can you see moving the money out of your Fidelity, that dormant 401k, over with myself? Well, here you got to fish or cut bait. Either he's got three things he can say, and only one brings me into the next appointment. He can say, I would consider that. That's not strong enough. That's not strong enough. I'm telling you what, he's going to stand you up at the altar. I don't want to get hurt at the altar. I don't. I want to get hurt on the first date. Remember, I have 3 appointments. This is the first appointment. If he says, you know what, it'd be hard for me because I like my vibe. Even if it was that, yep. I don't say, well, then we're done. I don't do that. I finish out the appointment just like I would with anybody. What I'm looking for is that, I could see moving it. That's what I want to hear. So if they tell me anything wishy-washy and they won't give me a direct answer, yeah, I am. And I'll tell you, I asked that also in the second appointment to go to the third. And when I went into the second appointment, looking at the third, I hadn't met with this guy's wife. It was 240,000, and they were with Edward Jones, and he said my wife just doesn't think we should leave from Jones, even though the loss is 17%. I told her I'd like to see what Dave has because I would move. I said, well, you need to go talk to your wife and see if you can kind of get the okay. And if you do, I would need your wife in on the next appointment. And it didn't go. Then I called him and blamed it on his wife. But that's fine. That's his prerogative. I just don't want to hear the no at the end, which I still do sometimes. Not everybody goes with me. That's the high hurdle. What's the low hurdle? Hey, would you be open to some ideas? I keep it as low as I could. The next one is, hypothetically, if you liked it, you understood it, you can see it's better for you. Can you see yourself moving from where it's at over with me? That's basically what you're saying. I mean, almost word for word. I need to hear yes. If I don't hear yes, I mean, it's not gonna go to the next one. There's an old saying. It says, procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Never stops, does it? And I use that procrastination close. I used it At the movie theater, I use it every single time I'm in front of somebody, because people who I've never had anybody come to me and say, "My gosh, Dave, you cannot believe how much I've made from procrastinating." No, procrastinators are losers. People who take action, they're the ones. If you do the same thing over and over, that's the old saying, but it's insanity. It is. You're going to get the same result. You need to do new things. If you don't have enough people in front of you, if you don't have a specific process of sales, I'll tell you right now, including IAMS or my broker dealer Calton, but the very top producers, they're all have they all are trying some new things, and a lot of them are coaching. A lot of them are finding mentors. I mean, I've done it most of my life. I have a group right now that sometimes I will pay for it, but sometimes I don't. I'll tell you what, that iron sharpens iron. And what we're going to do is we're going to put up a poll. Steve is going to put up a poll, and on that poll it will say, if you want more information on maybe specifically what we talked about today, on commitment lines, high hurdle, low hurdle. You don't hear that too often. It's made me a ton of money. But you know what? You can be the very best salesperson in the world and not get in front of anybody, and you're just a really good broke salesperson. What we want to do is we want to get in front of people, and that takes marketing. So whether it be seminar marketing, a type of retirement movie marketing, Retirement Boss Radios, being your own radio host, whether it be newsletters, I mean, whatever. I mean, I've done so many different kinds of marketing, and I'll tell you right now, there's some specific ones that are working really. I mean, they're just working very, very well. Not perfect. I mean, it's just like marrying. If you want to find the perfect spouse, don't get married, because there's not such a thing as perfect. But are there better than others? You darn right there is. Steve, I'll let the folks, we've got a pretty good showing here today on this subject. So if you'd like more information, sitting down on the phone for 15, 20 minutes, if you mark yes, Drake will give you a call later today or first thing in the morning, and use some of my knowledge. 42 years in the industry, that's 8 bear markets. That means I've been through 8 bears. I've been through 9 bull markets. I've been through 5 recessions. I mean, it's just a lot of time to do. And that guaranteed part of the business, I do a lot of different kind of business, but that guaranteed part of the business, no doubt it's a bigger part right now, because everybody's scared about the market and what's going to happen with if there could be a recession in 2023. It's just a really good time to market. So, Steve, I'm going to hand this over to you, and gosh, I talked longer than I thought. I apologize about that. We have about 5 minutes. I don't want to go longer than 30 minutes on this, and I apologize for talking so long.
No, Dave, good stuff as always. Everybody's voting, which is great. Appreciate y'all doing that. A couple questions here. So I think there's a little confusion. So we talk some about seminars and radio and what you do there, but this is commitment language. That it's not what you do on your radio show. It's not what you do during a seminar.
Nope.
Though you might.
This is for producers.
Yeah, this is when you're actually in an appointment.
Yep.
One-on-one with your client.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yep. So what happens is, when I'm on the radio, I'm talking about retirement planning. About the new Secure Act 2.0. We'll talk about Roth conversions. We'll talk about budgeting, but more about knowing what your expenses are. We'll talk about risk versus safety, income planning. I mean, all the different kind of things that Social Security. We're lucky because I know Social Security, and I can coach you up. If you don't know Social Security, I can coach you up. We're marketing for a guy right now that took the Social Security, which you pay me, Steve. Thank you, I appreciate that, but they don't pay for it on Social Security seminars. If you don't know Social Security, and you know what, he's in his 3rd day right now, and he's got like 33 people signed up. 33. He called me and said, "My gosh, this is incredible." And not all those people will come, but hopefully 50 to 70% of those people will come. And I tell you right now, Social Security is a hot subject. It isn't just hot this year. It's been hot last year or the year before. The reason is people want to maximize it. Social Security Administration cannot give advice. That's really, really important. And Stephen, you know this, like tonight's workshop is another, the eight mistakes retirees make with their money. I put that together. I haven't used it for a while. I revamped it, put the new Secure Act in there. But it's all around that retirement. And the nice thing is, but Social Security pulls. And if you don't know Social Security and you're going to talk pre-retired or just retired, you're leaving so much money on the table. Unbelievable. 35% of the money I work with from radio comes from Social Security questions.
Interesting.
Yeah. It really is. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So
Social Security alone doesn't make you money, but what it can do for you with investments is pretty wild.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great and successful seminar, probably our most successful seminar ever for the last, has it been 10 years that we've been doing it?
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you something that's interesting. Calton's got about 450 advisors, okay? And then we have a summer conference every year, and I mean 300 plus advisors. Between 250 and 3 will come to that summer conference. We also do, it might even be more than that, because now they've hooked the compliance with it to get your AML, your anti-money laundering and all. We have to do a yearly compliance. They want you to come to that. So maybe 300. But they've had people come in before with Social Security, some of the Gail Buckner and some of the big wigs. And last year they said, Dave, I think you'd probably do just as good a job. Do you want to do it? I said, sure. And I was in some breakouts where they get back the sheets, and the accountant HR person called me and said, well, Dave, that was highly successful last year. People really liked what you said. Would you do it again this year? So I train a lot of advisors, and you know that, Steve, within IAMS. So many people want to get coached up. And there's 3 ways to do it. You can get it free 2 different ways. One is Social Security seminars. It's $2,750 all in. Guarantee 35 signups. Now, Wild, Jimmy's got 35 signups in the first 2.5 days. Yeah, and we mark it out for 2 weeks. So it's going to be big. He's really excited. But IAMS pays me to coach, so it doesn't cost you. We have 3 coachings on that. Or you could do it from Retirement Boss Radio. The cost on that's an hour show, recorded show. We got the show notes. I help you with that. I coach you on Social Security there. Or you can just say, I don't need any more appointments, or I don't have the money, and that's fine. But then I coach you up one-on-one 4 appointments for $800, and you get all the attachments and able to use me after that. And you can call me as often as you want. I don't re-coach you, but I certainly will answer your questions for you. Like Mr. Livingston just called me, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
what did he ask
and he's
you?
used me.
Sure.
He had a question on. He had a real good client that died at an early age, 48. Well-to-do family, and they have children at home, and he wanted to know if those children can get a Social Security benefit. And that doesn't come up very often because they're so young. Mm-hmm. But yes, you can, as long as that child is under the age of 18 and going to school, then that child can get 75% of that person's full retirement age benefit, which is a huge deal, up to the age of 18 or up to the age of 19 if it takes that long to finish school. Probably mean they had a tough second grade, like a repeat second grade. But if that happens, it pays up to 19. So, not many people know that. I know that off the top of my head. I get calls like that all the time. And remember, Social Security can't give you advice. We do. And that's so important when it comes to our prospects and clients.
You bet. So, Dave, so this is kind of one of the practice management subjects or sales process coachings that you do. What are some of the other ones that are part of your kind of sales approach coaching?
Yeah, the current ones we've got with IAMS, and I only coach through IAMS. I'm proprietary, Steve. I'm captive. Because I want to be. That's why. Yeah. It's been a good relationship for 18 years. Yeah. So we've got Roth conversions we also talk about. we talk about. We have a 20-minute focus, 2020 focus on in-service plans, in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans, able to take your money at 59.5. We have that. We have the commitment lines. We have, Steve, what else? We have one or two others too. I don't have them right in front of me.
Yeah, and you've got like in the practice management, you've got kind of first appointment that you've done. Like when somebody says, "Hey, I want some help with kind of my sales process in general," you have five or six coachings that are just like step by step the sales process.
No, I do. We go through 3 coaching sessions, and then I go through from what I say from when they walk, when I meet them and shake hands with them, to when I'm writing up the deal. And we do it through 3. I almost always do it through 3 appointments. Now, if the person comes in and just said, "Hey, I got $100,000 at the bank, and I'm unhappy with the rate. I'm happy with how much interest I'm paying. I want, that. I mean, what would you have?" No, that might only take 2 appointments. But most of the time, a person comes in and, if it's from radio or from seminars or, what the movie, whatever it happens to be from, or a mailing campaign, I go through the process. So when I sales coach that, I mean, I'm showing them. I'm telling you what. I mean, the question I ask them and I'm actually going to do. I'm going to do the questions that most salespeople don't ask, and I've got 3 or 4 questions. One happens to be the commitment line, but there's 3 or 4 others that a lot of people don't. They ask just 1 or 2, not all 4. That we go through. We just go through that process, and it's like handling objections. I mean, that's another one, Steve, that we have is handling objections. Yeah, and that handling objections. I mean, if they say A, I'm going to say B. If they say C, I'm going to say D. If they say F, I'm going to say E, F, G. I mean, I know exactly what I'm going to say because I've heard that same one over and over. That's right. Or stall. If a person comes and says, "Hey, you know what? I want to think about it." I know exactly what I'm going to say. I'm never surprised. "Hey, I got to talk to my wife about it." I know exactly what I'm going to say. And it starts out with, "I'm curious," and then I ask my question. But another thing too is those 3 sales process coachings, which commitment lines, we go much more into depth than we role play on that. Yeah, it's $600 for 3 sessions. You get attachments every time that we coach. We do everything by the phone. But what also happens is, let's say that you really do a good job and you're just having trouble with closing. I mean, Curtis came to me, who's a big producer. And he said, "I'm just having trouble with my close. I don't know why." Well, you know what? It wasn't the close itself. What he was doing with all those little trial closes and what was happening, and we found out of what from the symptom of what the problem was, and it made a huge difference. Huge. And he has a brand new person, just started doing some seminars. Yeah, he paid for coaching again. But also what you can do is Curtis just said, "Look, it's my close." I said, "Well, let's go in for 45 minutes. I'll charge you $200. We'll find out what's wrong with it." And we go dissect it. Is that any different than taking a golf lesson if you're slicing the ball? Now, if the slice is really bad, you need more than 1 lesson. But if it needs tweaked, you can get information in 1 session. See, that's how you get great at this business, at the sales process business. And then what happens also, lots of people that I work with, they want to get in front of more people. And they say, "Dave, here's my budget. How could I stay within my budget?" And we try to go in and find a marketing program that works for them. That's what we try to do.
Good.
Hey, we're on YouTube. We're on YouTube.
You
just left. Okay, yeah.
Somebody did ask if we record these events, so we kind of do. They asked for the actual PowerPoint. That we don't do, but we do better. We record the event. We hang it here for you. So if you go to our website, which I just chatted to you all, www.imzinc.com, and go to the YouTube logo, which looks like that. It's right in the upper right hand of our website. I'll go back there and show you right there. And then it'll take you right here. And then you could see all of our webinars if you want to learn more about required minimum distributions. That's another sales focus that Dave does. If you want to hear more about Social Security, if you want to hear more, there's all kinds of stuff out there. And this one won't be out there. This is the first time we've done this one, so it won't be out there probably until tomorrow. So if you want to listen to it again, that's when you can see it. And then radio, somebody asked me about. Yes, sir.
If you would have your bill paid up, maybe you could get it on today. How about that?
It just takes longer than you think, Dave. These things are not
I
easy as you imagine.
I think that's impressive. You could get it up there tomorrow. I really am. Yeah, it's kind of a wealth of information, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's crazy. When you look at all the stuff that we've got on there, and for all the years that things have, all the changes, and there are a lot of repeats, but it's all good stuff. And then Retirement Boss Radio, which someone asked about that. They wanted to hear what your radio show sounded like, so that's pretty easy too. I also tweeted you that website. It's www.retirementbossradio.com, and then the podcasts are down here. Everyone always wants to hear you on the radio, Dave. I'm not sure why that is, but there it is, right there at the bottom of Dave's website, www.retirementbossradio.
Stephen, because I haven't talked to you because you were out of town for a couple of days at a meeting, but earlier in the week, I had an FMO called me, and they said, I know you work with IAMS, and I said I do, and they said, can you work with other FMOs? And I said I can, but I don't. and he said, well, can you give me some insights? And I said, I can't do that. I said, he said, have you had success? Which we've had lots of success, but I'm not going to tell him that. But you know what? I mean, it took a little doing to bring everything together, but with myself and with IAMS, and we got a program that's repeatable. We've got a very good co-host. It's recorded, so it's not live. I mean, it's cooking. I mean, it's been very, very profitable. Not for everybody, but for the folks, for the right person, it can be a very, not many people do radio, and you're kind of viewed as that expert. So if you have any interest, if you marked yes, we can certainly talk about that. See if there's any continuity within your area there. Yep. Yeah. Hey, Steve, we're gonna have to. You know what? We're past the time. I don't want to go because those are supposed to be 20 minutes, not 20 plus 20. Okay. All right.
So we're off. We are off. If anybody has any questions, you're going to get a call. Everybody wants to talk with you, Dave. I got 100% voting and 100% yes. Everybody wants to talk to you. So Drake will give you a call. Usually when we do this late afternoon one, sometimes it might be tomorrow before he calls you. He might call you yet this afternoon, but he'll call you and get you set up for 10 or 15 minutes. No reason to worry about that phone call with Dave. He is very open, just to even answering a simple question or telling you the way he does something, or if you want to go through one of his programs or learn about radio or learn about Social Security seminars. We do a lot of financial support of marketing efforts, and so if that's something you're interested in, you talk to Dave and think it might be good, then give us a call. Let's talk about it and see how we can make it easy for you to do it, because we know that if you are in the right spot, if you made you're willing to make a little commitment, we'll make a little commitment to you, and everybody will come out in the green. And that's what we call a win-win here at IAMS, and that's good for everyone. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. Thank you, Dave. I know you've got a seminar here tonight, and I know you're kind of getting ramped up for that. So I appreciate you taking a few minutes with us here today. Thank you all, producers, for joining us as well. We know your schedule is busy. We're here to help you. 800-255-5055. Give us a ring. We'll put you on a path to get from where you are to where you want to be. Again, that's 800-255-5055. Look forward to chatting with you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks again, Dave.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Starts a little long. Bye-bye.